Some professionals assume the answer to getting more done is working longer, but the research points the other way. Beyond a certain point, more hours produce less output per hour, not more. So here's the direct answer. Hours worked is a poor proxy for output. Stanford University research shows productivity per hour starts to decline after roughly 49 hours per week. Push past 55 hours and the decline becomes significant. You're essentially working the extra time for very little in return. OECD cross-country data reinforces this. Countries with lower average working hours, like Germany, tend to produce more output per hour than countries where people work longer. Greece has some of the longest working average hours in Europe and some of the lowest output per hour. More time at the desk does not mean get more done. So if longer hours do not reliably produce more output, well, what actually does? And that is where the mechanism matters. The mechanism is Parkinson's law. Work expands to fill the time available for its completion. When you have 10 hours to do something, it takes 10 hours. Give yourself 5 and you cut the filler, sharpen the focus, and get the same result often. This is exactly what sits behind the 4-day week experiments. The insight here is not that people should work less, it's that when time is compressed, low-value work gets cut first. Unnecessary meetings, slow email threads, tasks that exist out of habit rather than purpose. These are the things that quietly absorb hours without moving anything forward. The constraint here does not reduce output. It forces you to be honest about what actually drives it. But, of course, this logic does have limits, and it's worth being clear about them. The pattern does not apply equally across all roles. If your workload is fixed by external demand, such as client-facing work, manufacturing, or shift-based roles, compressing hours without cutting tasks raises stress rather than improving output. The logic only works when low-value work actually exists for it to be removed. A 4-day week is not a universal fix. It's a structural test of whether your current hours contain enough filler to absorb the cut. For some teams and industries, they don't. So be honest about what camp you're in before applying the principle. You don't need a structural experiment to test this. Here's one tactic you can apply inside your existing working day this week. Audit where your hours actually go. Most professionals find a meaningful share goes to reactive work, low-priority tasks, or meetings with no clear output. Research from ActiveTrack suggests employees spend an average of 2.5 hours per day dealing with interruptions alone, and it takes over 20 minutes to fully refocus after each one. So once you can see where the time goes, apply fixed task batching, group similar work into protected blocks, and treat those blocks as non-negotiable. Deep work in the morning before you receive anything reactive, meetings and emails in defined windows, not on demand. The rule of thumb that makes it stick is if you cannot name your 3 highest value tasks before you open your inbox, your hours are running you, not the other way around. So start there. If that was of value, subscribe to the channel for one real business question answered every video. For the same clarity in writing, the website and newsletter is 5minutebusiness.com.